Hello, how are you all doing? It is so cold and freezing in the UK right now. It's so cold. I hope you can hear me. I was not sure whether you can. Um, also, this is going to be shared obviously on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm glad that TikTok is not banned for US citizens. I know the Indians cannot see TikTok. But anyway, here we are on Instagram. And today's live is about why the DF is held to a higher standard than the DM. And some of you wrote in the comments and you were saying, oh, it's because the DF is more spiritual and blah, blah, blah. But it's way more deeper than that. So before we start on the topic, I would like us to, I don't know, I feel like we need to do a prayer. I feel like we need to close our eyes and I feel like we need to breathe deeply and we need to pray for ourselves, for our DMs, for our friends, for our family, and for the world. And also forgive everyone, including ourselves. I think we should do that for 2 minutes or a minute or so. So as people are logging in, just close your eyes. And if someone wants to write in the comments that that's what we're doing, like just doing a little prayer and meditation, that would be really helpful, please. So we close our eyes and we breathe in and out through the nostrils, focusing on our heart space. And we pray. We pray to God, whatever name you want to use, the universe, source, whatever name you want to call it. And we ask God to surround all the people that we know and we love, including the ones we don't know, light, So we ask God to forgive us, we forgive others, we pray for ourselves, we pray for strength to continue, we pray for all doubts and fears to be removed. We pray to have that pinpointed focus with God on love, on light, on trust, on faith, on union. We focus on that. We don't look left, we don't look right, we don't open our eyes. We don't get distracted. We don't get distracted from the truth. The truth is of unity, of oneness, of union, of love. We let go of all the negative emotions, anger, sadness, blame, resentment. We let it all go. Focus on the truth of all that is, that we're all one, we're all interconnected, and we're all love. We're going into the age of Aquarius, and people are going to wake up, and this year is going to be big. There's going to be alien disclosures. There's going to be celebrity takedowns. There's going to be political showdowns and uplifts and displays of what's going on and how we're all being controlled. Hence, I mentioned the TikTok thing in the beginning. But the DMs are also going to heal, and there's going to be a lot of activity there as well. So there's a few friends of mine who are not very well. They're having kind of quite a lot of serious illnesses. And I want to pray for them too. I want to pray for my sister who's going through something right now, which is quite beautiful. But there's worries about that too. And I just want to pray for my DM, your DMs, who are all going through this uplift. And then when we're finished, we can open our eyes. Hopefully someone wrote in the chat what the hell we're doing. So the topic, why the DF is held to a higher standard than the DM. And some people wrote down in the comments of that post about, it's because they're spiritual. So if you want to write down why you think it is, please do. Maybe your answers will help to shed light, but hopefully I'm going to give some indications of what I think, okay? So the questions are, why does it seem like the DM gets away with everything, but the DFs don't, right? And anything we do is like held to a higher standard. Now, obviously the DM doesn't get away with it, but they feel like they are. And sometimes a lot of DFs think they are too. So why is that? We'll get into the depths of that, but the DM has to trigger you in the beginning, so the divine allows it as well. They do get blasted for it. When I say blasted, I mean they do have ego deaths, dark nights of the soul, tower moments. They have that happen. But they're allowed to get away with it because they have to do it. But then when you ascend, then they don't get away with any of it. Their whole life comes crashing down. We'll get into that. The second question is, why do the DFs feel they are being punished more than the DM? Because that seems to be a case as well. A lot of DFs think the DM's just doing whatever he wants and having fun and all that kind of stuff. So to explain that, we've got a few points that we're going to go through. So I'm going to use these terms and I'm going to explain them as well. So obviously we've got the matrix and we've got the spiritual realm. The matrix is the 3D world, the regular world, the ego world, where most of humanity exists. It's in the lower chakras. It's quite dense. It's quite thick. It's quite coarse. It's quite heavy. We'll use the term gross, not in like gross, like smelly, bad, disgusting, but as in gross, as in large. Because you've got gross and then you've got also subtle. So gross would be like coarse or dense. Okay, that's what the meaning is. So the matrix, the grossness of the matrix is quite dense. And when you're trying to manifest from the 3D, when you're trying to manifest in the matrix, it takes a bit of time. I mean, you don't just think elephant and you see an elephant. Usually, you don't just think this and then it appears straight away. Apple and whoosh, there you go, you got an apple. Or genie and there's a genie. And the reason for that is because if you have instant manifestation, which is what you get more so in the spiritual realm, then it would be very terrible, because people in the grossness of the matrix, the denseness of the matrix, are unable to keep their thoughts positive all the time. Sometimes they may think of negative things or death or, oh, what if I fall down the stairs? And if they were in instant manifestation, they'll fall down the stairs. So that's why the matrix, usually manifestation is slower and denser and gross. So it takes longer, right? Whereas the spiritual realm is more subtle, more finer, more refined, more instant. 5D manifestation is more instant. So in the matrix, you have the DMs, okay? So their manifestations are slower. They don't get the full whiplash of their actions straight away. However, the DF, some of you don't even know what DF is. Come on. DM is divine masculine. DF is divine feminine. If you're on the journey, you'll know this. So the DF is in the spiritual realm, is in the 5D. And because to get into the 5D, you have to be in a very high vibration of love, of joy, of peace, of oneness. Now, not all DFs are there, obviously, because I know some of you are like, oh, are we all getting union tomorrow when you've done jack all work and you're living in fear? No, you won't get union if you're living in that life. You get union if you do the work, okay? So that's what you're working towards, getting into the 5D of love and peace and bliss. And when you're in that phase, anything you say, anything you do, you get the instant whiplash. That means you get the instant karma. You get the instant tower, ego death, dark nights of soul. Straight away, you are getting whatever you're thinking, because you're in a very highly focused, aligned position, okay? And that's why it feels as though the DMs get away with everything, but we do one little thing and we get the whiplash straight away. Now, if some of these things you don't understand because I'm using British English, then please write in the chat. Or if someone can explain it as we're going along and write in the chat, great. Whiplash is when you're driving a car and God forbid you have an accident, you get whoosh, like that, and you get a whiplash in your neck, okay? Right, okay. So the DMs, they are blissfully unaware of what's going on in the matrix, okay? Most of humanity is like this. Something bad happens, they don't understand that it's their creation, their thoughts, their actions. They just think it's bad luck, or it happens, shit happens, or they might play the victim, okay? They'll keep staying in that cycle. And you'll know people like that, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your friends, your family, your colleagues, who are at mercy of the world. They're not empowered. They're not in the realization that their thoughts create the reality. Maybe you're there still too and like to play the victim blame game. I know some DFs who are doing that and who are not doing any inner work and expecting life to change and miraculously, which it won't. So the DMs are like the sleeping beauties of the world, right? They are blissfully unaware, but they still get blasted. And when they do get blasted, they don't put 2 and 2 together. They don't realize it's due to them ascending, the twin flame journey. They don't realize it's because maybe they did something bad to you, or the fact that you've up-leveled yourself, you've ascended, you've healed, so it's being mirrored back to them with the cord, they're being pulled forwards. They don't realize any of that stuff. They just think, why am I being, blasted for? When I use the word blasted, because some of you don't get that either, it means tower moments, it means ego deaths, it means dark night of the soul. When you're in the twin flame journey, you get blasted into alignment to get rid of all your negativities and impurities. So the DMs, they're blissfully unaware, they're ignorant, they're not arrogant. Well, they can be, but they're just ignorant to what's going on. They're sleeping beauties, okay? And most of humanity is like that. They don't realize what's going on. So if something bad happens, they just think, oh, okay, that's terrible. And, they play the victim. Whereas when something bad happens to us, we start thinking about why, where, and when. We start reflecting with the mirror. How did I manifest this? How did I create this? How did I project this? What happened? And you understand quite quickly and quite succinctly, I did this, I said that, and that's why I got the repercussion, the instant karma, right? And it is instant, so it happens straight away. Whereas with the DMs, because they're in the denseness, the coarseness, the grossness of the matrix, there's a slight delay. So they don't always do the action and get the response straight away. It might happen a week later, a few days later. They have to do quite a lot of the actions before they get the big thump, the big blast, right? The whiplash, the ego death. So then it doesn't make sense to them straight away until eventually it does. So that's why it's important for us as DFs to stay in the middle path. And that's what the Buddha talked about, the middle path, staying equanimous, which is balanced. And I'll explain that. We'll also go into this whole thing about being in the harmlessness of the Divine Mother. So the DFs, we have to be wary of any of our thoughts, actions, words, emotions, that they don't harm another, including our twin flame. Because we will get that instant manifestation, that instant karma back, okay? So hopefully this is all making sense. If it's not, write down in the questions down below, or you can also re-watch this. So the DF, as you know, is the conscious twin. They're the conscious part of the brain, and they therefore get that instant karma. Whereas the DM is the subconscious or the unconscious, so they're blissfully unaware, they don't realize. For the DF, in all of our actions, we must think, are we acting in the harmlessness of the Divine Mother, causing no harm to others? Otherwise, we will get that instant karma and we'll be blasted by God. Blasted meaning tower moments, okay? So we've got to act in a place where there's no malice, no jealousy, no toxicity, and no holding on to things. Now, you might think it's unfair. Why does the DM get away with it? Why do I have to stay in middle path and not say anything bad? You get rewarded for being in alignment, being in high vibration of love, peace, and bliss. You get instant karma, but you also get instant manifestation. You get abundance, you get peace, you get love, you get joy. You get into flow, right? You get into that inner union, which if you want to know more about, I have my inner union course on my website. It's a special price. But you basically get the best of both worlds. So you get everything that you want, but if you get out of kilter, out of alignment, you get blasted. So the higher in vibration you go, the more it hurts as well. So think of this as the vibrational scale. The higher you go, when you get blasted, when you get that negative karma, that instant karma, when you get that tower moment, you go down again. And the steepness, the highness is much greater, right? The fall from grace is much higher. Whereas the DM will be more here because they're not on the total high vibration yet. They will get there. So if they have a little blast, they only feel a little bit of it. So it doesn't feel as much. For us, it will feel like life and death. Right. Okay. So the DM is unconscious about stuff, right? They're blissfully aware, but they do get gut reactions and instincts when they feel like they're being played or someone's maturity level is not good. They do feel it, and they feel it with us as well. They feel when we are being toxic or they need to get away because we're not at that place of that divine harmlessness of the mother, in that 0 point, which is that balanced equanimous place where we're in the middle path, right? We have to stay in that middle path. And I'll go more into detail about the middle path, about not having a spiritual ego and not feeling like you are all that. So if the DF acts out of kilter, you will attract an equal and opposite energy instantly with the instant karma due to your high vibration and faster manifestation abilities. The higher the vibration in the 5D, the instant the karma returned. Okay? So you have to be very wary being the conscious twin. And that's why we're always kept in line and checked, right? To be loving and kind and forgiving. And that's why we can't hate our DMs for long either. but they're still working in the matrix, in the denseness and the grossness of that, like the rest of humanity, and still working through. So it's slower for them. For the DM, it's 3D. It's slower. They're unaware when things happen. They play the victim. Woe be me. They don't join the dots together until it's obvious and oblivious. It's obvious in their face. So obvious. It has to be like clearly crystal clear for them. And that's why they will doubt the journey. They will, feel they don't want to be vulnerable. They're scared of love, whatever they've gone through. So it will take a lot for them to actually say, oh, okay, makes sense now. Whereas we'll see the synchronicities and make sense straight away, quite quickly, right? We're kind of a little bit gullible, or maybe quite more open to go for it. Whereas for them, they're very cautious, very logical, very slow. It takes them a long time. He's got to hit them on the head completely to understand, okay? They'll just think if something happens that it's just bad luck, or they'll just blame others. Whereas for us, it's not like that. So it happens to both. So both of us get the karma. Both of us are held to account. But for the DF, it's faster, instant. And you're conscious and you're aware and you put the dots together. For the DM, it's slower. More has to happen. And they're unconscious. And only when it's so obvious and it keeps happening. So with the DMs, it's got to keep happening until they like get the lesson. Finally get the damn lesson. And you're here pulling your hair out, going crazy, like, get the lesson already. But they're blissfully aware. Ignorant, unaware, like sleeping beauties. Whereas you will get it straight away. You'll be like, oh, I said something, and that's why I got this karma back. And also, you're spiritually clued up as well. A lot of them usually are not, okay? Some of them are, some of the DMs are, but it's never going to be at the same level. Okay, so for the DM, it's more slower, it's more painful, it has to be very obvious, and they're unaware. They're blissfully unaware. They're not operating on the same spiritual understanding as you, usually. They don't put it together. The DF goes to God consciousness, right, as God, and comes back to Earth to help the DM and others. Our mission is the leader, right? So we're going right to the front. And it's a little bit easier for us because we're the upper chakras, right? So we basically fight hard to achieve this level of ascension, inner union for ourselves. And we get rewarded. We get the bliss. We get the inner union. We get the instant manifestations. But we also get the instant karma. The higher the vibration, the quicker things are bouncing back to you, whether it's good or bad, okay? It's just frequency. It's just energy. It's like vibration. The higher the vibration, the quicker it moves, okay? And this is scientific. The lower the vibration, which is where the DM's usually at, the slower it comes back. Imagine like a tennis match, right? And you've got those machines that push out those balls, right? The faster it goes, the quicker it comes towards you, right? So you'll get that instantness returned back to you. Whereas with the DM, when they play tennis with that machine, it's much slower. It's like, so it's not as instant. But for us, we learn faster then, don't we? We get ahead faster, which we need to as leaders so they can catch up. The DM gets gross lessons, not like gross and smelly and nasty, but as in large, coarse, dense lessons, yeah? When they overstep the mark. So when they do something bad, they get a big thump, bam. And the grossness of the matrix, so the coarseness, the heaviness of the matrix, they don't always understand, you know. They might get the karma like a few days later, a week later. They don't understand, they're not that clued up, okay? They don't put the dots together. And that's like most of humanity. Whereas the DF generally operates more on the subtleness of the spiritual realm in the 5D. More refined, more defined, more detailed, more aware. So for us, it's like we're very sensitive to things that happen, flowing over, you know, the cosmos, whatever we're doing. We feel it straight away, like we're hyper alert, hyper vigilant, whereas for them, it's not. So that's why the DF must follow the middle path. To stay in 0 point, stay balanced between the subtle and the gross, yeah? So we need to be in a place of humility, not in our spiritual ego. Sometimes we have to be hidden in plain sight because we can trigger people. Because we're so high vibration, we're like an ultimate mirror, it brings out people's shadows for the sleeping beauties. And therefore, we kind of have to be cloaked sometimes and hidden in plain sight, like the Jedi Knights, or sometimes at work, for example. I was at work in London on Thursday for a meeting, and I knew that my high vibration was kind of triggering a few people. So sometimes you just have to learn to be quiet, sit, observe, and not say much. Now, I remember Bashar, as channeled by Daryl Anker, talks about this, that, when the aliens come down, which they will, or when they have done, to do abduction programs, which is not actually abductions because it's soul agreements. But anyway, when they do come down, sometimes their vibration is so high. So this is extraterrestrials or extra dimensionals, which will be coming up in the Ascension series. I think it's part 9. But anyway, when a human being who's not of the same vibration, because most of us are not at that high vibration. I mean, some DFs, some spiritual people, there are some spiritual people operating a very high level vibration. If they interacted with aliens, they'd have no issue. But usually what happens is when an alien comes down, or an extraterrestrial, like an angelic being or whatever, their vibration is so high and the human's vibration is so much lower. When they come across that, not only do all their shadows come up and their triggers straight away get mirrored, but they cannot deal with it. So they faint, they become unconscious, right? And that's why the aliens often have to cloak their energy, either come in different ways or in dreams or whatever, in order to be able to work with us, because otherwise we'll just faint and not be able to handle it. So they cloak themselves too. And as DF, sometimes you may have to cloak yourself. The middle path is known as the chef's kiss, the best thing. It's just perfection, right? It's just right. Like Goldilocks, it's just right. And that's where you want to be, in the middle path. So if the DF is too removed, too extreme, too much in her spiritual ego, I've received light, I am divine, I am ascended, I am amazing, then you're not. And you're saying to others, you're not on my level, you are beneath me, I'm up here, I'm spiritually advanced, I'm superior, then you're, going to be blasted. But basically, at that stage, which a lot of DFs do get into, and I have as well, we demand people like our DMs to wake up right now. Why doesn't he wake up? Why is he sleeping for? And it's like they are fast asleep in the Matrix, right? In the dark. And we are coming into their bedrooms, putting on the light, and we're getting torches and spotlights and putting it on their face and saying, wake up, DM, wake up. And that frightens the living daylights out of them, okay? And that's when they tell us to fuck off and they block us, right? But it frights the living daylights out of them, and they get triggered and they run and they block us. It's too much. To be putting all that in your DM's face is too much. Now you have to realize the DM, they meet us. We get triggered too, right? We get triggered by their behaviors. They get all our insecurities out because they're running. But they are triggered by us a lot too, from their past lives and all the things karmic they're trying to figure out and resolve. And they have all their lives suppressed their emotions and hidden things and not wanting to be vulnerable or open, right? And here we come trying to open their hearts, and they're being triggered. They feel insecure, not worthy. Their mothers, their sisters, other people have always said to them all these things. And the DF is there saying, wake up, wake up. They can't deal with it. So they run, right? And it's too much for them. It reflects all their shadows and they just want to get away from it. That's why it's very important to be cloaked like a Jedi Knight. And what I mean by that is keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it balanced, keep it light. Don't give too much energy. Don't try to force the DM to wake up. Don't go in their face and write loads of messages and long things and explain spiritual concepts. It's like trying to explain PhD level spirituality to a baby. They don't get it. Spoon feed slowly and gently and allow them to slowly figure it out themselves. You don't need to tell them your twin flames. You don't need to explain concepts. You don't need to say, this is the right way. They won't listen to you because they won't understand what you're talking about. You have to allow them to bang their head, have knocks and falls, go with whoever, do whatever, be crazy like they do, and just work and figure it out, okay? And the more you kind of like try to wake them up and put that flashlight in their face, the more they're going to want to run away from you and tell you to get lost. So that's why a Jedi Knight, a Jedi Knight goes into the city, goes onto different planets, cloaked, hidden, calm, relaxed. I met a DF recently, and when I met her in the restaurant, she was just there, cloaked, wearing a hoodie, and just quietly in her own energy. Yeah, and I felt sucked in, like the mystery and the energy. I could tell it was a DF, very evolved, but she wasn't making a song and dance about it and inviting any attention. She was keeping herself low key. Cloaking yourself is like keeping yourself low key and gentle, and that's how you have to be with the DM, right? That's why in the past I've said things like, treat them like a rescue animal, treat them like a baby, blah 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 blah, because for them, the reason why they run, it's too much for them to handle. We can handle it a little bit better because we're a little bit more spiritual, and we have been dealing with ourselves, whereas they, for their entire lives, have been running from themselves, their emotions, bottling up their feelings, their vulnerabilities, and their hearts. So that's why we have to stay away from our spiritual ego and arrogance, trying to force them to wake up before they are ready. And trying to say, why doesn't he bloody wake up? He's so annoying. We have to be less intense and crazy and more relaxed and peaceful and happy. Okay? And I'll explain more a little bit in detail later. But when you're at that place of that middle path, yeah, you trust God, you trust in divine timing, you feel whole and complete. You don't need anything. And also you're at that divine harmlessness of the mother. So if you just joined in, you got to watch from the beginning because it's a whole amazing chat about this. You're going to be at that place of the harmlessness of the mother, where you allow people to mature and awaken in their own damn time. You cannot force someone to awaken, okay? Because you're doing it out of your insecurities and your need. It's not kind. Have any of you seen the movie The Matrix? So in the movie The Matrix, basically human beings have been put into these like kind of pods and connected electrically or something to this machine. And they're put into a sleep, but they're operating inside the game of the Matrix in the machine. And they believe they're alive because they're using their brain power to be able to power the machines. And there's a group of people who are unplugging people out of the Matrix, taking them out of that sleep. If you do it too fast, the person will have a heart attack or a psychotic breakdown. You got to do it when they're ready, when it's the right time, and gentle. And God knows this more than we do. So the more you try to push and control from your ego for the DM to waken up, the longer it will take. It will. So, okay, let's continue. The DM is in the grossness of the matrix, the coarseness, the heaviness, the denseness. In the material realm, they feel. And because of the way in which they've been brought up, which is usually very toxic, okay? We have too, but they operate in the opposite way. So they'll go towards the dark and we go towards the light, okay? In the beginning, to be able to cope with the shit life we go through. So the DM rejects, negates the light. They get involved in darkness. They want to achieve and get sex. They want to feel the denseness of the material realm. It's thick, it's sluggish, and they get cognitive dissonance. So they don't want to get involved, right, with anything. They're just removed from their emotions. They've been told by their mother, I'm too bad, by their mother, that they're bad. Their sisters have said they're bad. Their exes have said they're bad. Their teachers have said that they are bad. So they think, I might as well be bad. And it's uncool to be good. It's uncool to be the little choir boy focusing on the light and focusing on God. It's cool to be the little devil and I want to stab people with a fork and be a bad boy. So it's interesting. You both have shit lives. The DF goes towards God and light and spirituality, and the DM goes towards the shadow. And that's why you have to bring it together. The shadow, So the DF, we need to learn to go into the middle path, having no resistance to anything, without that spiritual ego, having absolute faith in God, understanding, allowing the light to pour into you. You don't want to shove anything down anyone's throat, like I just explained, because that's forcing them to wake up and they'll reject it. You understand divine timing. You understand and allow people to waken up at their own pace. There's no rush. There's no lack. It's only abundance. And you are fulfilled, you are happy, you are whole. You don't care what the DM's doing, you don't care what others are doing, you just care about being in peace and bliss and love, like the divine mother, the harmlessness of the mother. You're allowing your children and other people just to get on with it. And at their own pace, they'll learn to crawl and walk and run. The DM is triggered. The DM is broken. They run. They sabotage, right? They don't feel worthy. They feel your love is not true. They feel like there's toxicity, which there is in the beginning because you're trying to control them. So they reject all that, and they think it's not going to work out with you anyway. So they do silly things, sabotaging, which they don't realize, which they do get karma for slowly. And so then they don't trust love. They're unable to be vulnerable. And these are lifetimes of issues. Not this life, it's many lifetimes. And that's why you have to let them figure it out in their own time and not push your energy onto them. The more you push onto them and want them to change, the less you are in your middle path. But when the DF does get into the middle path, the DM can relax, reflect, and actually heal. Otherwise, they're just running away from you. That's interesting. The DM doesn't see God's blasts and towers the way we do, right? They don't think of it as being divine intervention. They just think it's bad luck. They go from bad to bad, yeah, and they just destroy themselves, basically. It's just destruction. It's like seeing car crash television. And that's how it's got to be. Unfortunately, the DM just self-destructs. It's sometimes a horror show. And you just let that happen. Because for the DF, your childhood would have been crappy anyway, and then you found God. And they're going through that crappiness now because they had all these mechanisms with their ego to protect themselves and not get vulnerable. So then they never allowed themselves to get to that place where they were self-destructing. Whereas we already have self-destructed as children, as teenagers. And when you do that, you do find God. Okay? You do. So beyond the Maya illusion, so beyond the Matrix 3D world, the DF, when you join with God consciousness, you are programming your destiny with God itself. Your third eye is open, you're having self-realizations. And at that point, you can't get away. You cannot get away with anything. You're in high vibration, get instant karma. But the DM, like I said, does a victim, woe be me, and doesn't understand it until later. So early on in the journey with the DF in childhood, you are going from pillar to post, in chaos, being abused, being abandoned, and you are a catalogue of a disaster too, and your life, the chaos, wakes you up. The DM's going through that now. The DF's third eye is open. You've stepped off the merry-go-round of the Matrix. You have been purging with God. You're self-conscious. You get to that level of bliss. Your crown chakra is open. You are one with everything. When you're one with everything, you don't want to harm others anyway. Right? The divine harmlessness of the mother. And you understand everyone with compassion and love. And you forgive. You must be, therefore, in the harmlessness of the divine mother. Otherwise, if you hurt others, you're hurting yourself. It's painful, right? So you are actively, consciously saying to God that you've had self-realization now, and you're a fractal of God, and then you're coming back to earth to anchor that unconditional love, to allow your DM to awaken in his own time and be in your middle path, because you are in wholeness. The DMs will and do sort themselves, but in their own timing. You cannot force them. I'll do questions in a moment. Nearly finished. So the DF initial is setting her hair on fire, going crazy in passion, wanting the DM now, awaken now, you bastard, and wants him next to her. God has given the DF a quick and early wake-up call to guide things forwards, because you're the leader, my love. And if the DF is healed and whole and understands that she's a fractal of God, she will be in the kindness of the harmlessness of the Divine Mother and be a vessel of love and forgiveness, allowing everyone else to catch up in their own time. There's no lack, there's no resistance, forcing the DM to awaken, and then the DM awakens quicker with ease, right? And we are starting the healing. This week we're going to start the healing part of ascension. And essentially, you don't need to heal, in short. But to get to that realization, sometimes you got to heal. Ideally, you just want to be in a place of peace and bliss and wholeness and oneness and allowing and trust and divinity, aligned and connected and focused on God. And then everything works out. That's when you're in 0 point, you're in the middle path, you're in the divine harmlessness of the mother, divine feminine energy of peace and bliss and love. You're not pushing onto the DM. He's not feeling pressure. He's not getting all your energy, so he doesn't run. He calms down, he does his inner work, he returns. But a lot of DFs are not at that place. I certainly was not. A lot of DFs are setting their hair on fire, going crazy. Let's answer some questions. I hope that made sense. Please watch the live from the beginning if you just joined, because I think it's quite an important one. It's quite interesting. Okay, let's go. I hope everyone's good. We did a little meditation and prayer in the beginning. Okie dokie. Lovely people. Let's have a look. Any questions? I saw some questions here. Hopefully you found that interesting, my little rendition. Mel, you said you have a question. Yeah, sure. Write your questions down. Let's go for it. Hope I know the answers. Okay, so Julia, sometimes it feels like the DF has to reach perfection and stay there before union. It's not perfection, it's alignment. Okay, so you're learning to be made shiny like the diamond and perfect your, no one's perfect, but to perfect your ability to stay calm and peaceful and balanced in the middle path. You know, it is the more spiritually you evolve, the more you're awake. So you're aware of how actions have consequences and how karma happens. When the DM gets awakened, he will also have the same. Okay, so don't worry about that. Usually the rest of the people, they're just not awakened and aware to it, but they are receiving the karma. They do receive it too. It's just that you become more aware of it and heightened. And it feels bad when you're out of alignment. When you're out of kilter, it feels more painful. And if you're into Abraham Hicks talks about this. Like, and I've had this for many years. When I'm aligned, I feel amazing. But as soon as I get out of alignment, I feel like I want to die. And she says it's because, like I explained, the higher vibration you are, when you go a little bit down, it feels like a deeper steep. It feels like a big jump down. Whereas the DM, for example, is here, and if he gets a little bit low, he's just there. Whereas for you, you're here, and then you go here, low, and then it's just like a big, like, step down, and that feels quite a lot. So you don't need to reach perfection. You just reach a place of refinement and alignment and peace, and it's good for you. Actually, it's good for you because you learn to be a better person in your truth. I know it feels like it's a higher task, but don't worry, the DM will get there too. Jaslene, I've noticed when someone wrongs me, they instantly pay for it. Yes, good question. Listen, we are so divinely protected. I've had a few people wrong me, and trust me, God does not make mistakes when they get their karma back. And I don't wish it on anyone, but you start seeing it too. But that other person, if they're in low vibration, probably will not understand and put the two and two together like the DMs, okay? If I'm really pained, is this connected? Yes, Jaslene, it's connected. If they do you wrong, it's in karma. Brooke, can the DM be spiritually awakened but not awakened to the TF journey? Yes, that can be the case. Yes, some DMs are more awakened. Mine was not. Some are. So yes, when I met my DM, he was the more spiritual person in the connection. Yes, but it's probably like spiritual ego. Okay, so they might be aware from it from the matrix about religion or concepts, but they don't actually have embodied it. They haven't actually experienced it on a spiritual soul level as opposed to what you would have done. But also maybe he's the DF. I don't know how it is. But yes, sometimes they can be awakened and aware, but not know about the twin flame journey. But also it's like religious people. They say they're doing it, but actually they're not living the actual faith and spiritual stuff. Okay. Koi says 100% makes sense. Okay. Run, Forest, run. Listen, let them run, let them do. They will wake up when it's the right time for them. They're dealing with a lot, and you think, oh God, why does that asshole wake up? listen, you just don't know what they're grappling with. For someone to run for the hills, to block you, to avoid you, to go for the people, even though they love you, you must be bringing up a lot of their stuff from past lives, ancestry, karma. And the DMs, the way in which they internalize their childhood makes them go towards the devilish side and the dark side, right? So they get comfort in that, in their ego. And you just don't know what journey they're on. Everyone's on their own journey. Just be compassionate and kind to them. Okay? Just be loving and kind. Magnetic mountain. Lol. It's just frustrating when they are awakened. You truly need to surrender to divine timing and God. Yes, you do. Everything is perfectly orchestrated. Kalaram, or all. My DM came back a few days ago, not to connect about our connection, but to ask for a favor. But he was full of victim-like needs, like we've explained. They become victims. Yeah, can be like victims. If I accepted the favor, then I would be putting myself out again. So you as the divine conscious one, can understand that he's trying to reconnect, which is a good thing. He's not as scared anymore. And you can guide in a loving way by staying in your middle path, with your boundaries, with your love, like the Divine Mother, the harmlessness of the Divine Mother. Always just stay in that place of love. Oscar, thanks, Manny. Finally taking down the Christmas tree as I listen. Okay. Supposed to be 9 days after Christmas, but it depends where you're celebrating Christmas, because some people celebrate in January. Okay. Hello, Kushi Kalramal. I said I can't help because I have to focus on my needs. Okay. I felt so bad and guilty, but I felt I needed to prioritize my needs. Yes, always put your own breathing mask on first before you put on theirs. But you are the leader, and you also are tasked with guidance and leadership and love. Okay, so be kind. That's so accurate. It's sad, Monique. It's not sad. It just is what it is. Oscar, my DM's profile has the little troublemaker. There you go. Because they're naughty. That's how they coped, okay? Everyone operates from trauma, and we get to a place where we get out of that, and we stop operating in autopilot, and we start operating with conscious awareness, and then with love. So I just see everyone now when they behave. I'm like, oh, trauma. This is how they're just automatically reacting. So stop yourself from doing that, and your DM will also. Bagashi, obviously an offbeat question. Always off topic, everyone. Am I joking? Let's have a look. In one of your lives earlier, you mentioned your twin flame's counselor's name. Can you share her name again? My twin flame does not have a counselor that I'm aware of. I don't know what you mean. You mean my psychic that I use sometimes, Isla, from healinglight.co.uk? Her? I've been the one with all the coaches and stuff. As far as I'm aware, my DM has not. And I don't know that information. Poi. So how do you balance yourself as the DF, cloaking yourself and still remaining authentic, especially if talking communication is your thing? Good question. So we're like the star, and we have a lot of energy and a lot of light. And we gotta imagine like you're a spotlight on a stage. Sometimes you have to bring the light down or away from others and learn to maybe cover it a little bit, not say so many words, keep it short, keep it sweet. We have to become very careful with our words and how we speak with the divine harmlessness of the mother. Say things maybe by implying, suggesting, rather than just saying it straight away, like, oh, you're acting like a dick because this has happened, like analyzing them. Just say, oh, have you considered this? Or if they ask you for advice, So it's sometimes you have to kind of dim your light in a way, but not really. You're just conserving, you're containing your light as opposed to dimming it. You're protecting your light, which your DM will do eventually. That's why they become your Archangel Michael, wielder of Archangel's sword, because they know when you ascend, you're going to need a protector. You're going to need it. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm so self-sufficient, blah, 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 like I am. But no, the light gets too much, and you're going to need them to protect you in the 3D. So it's about putting your energy and focus where you want, which should be essentially you and your purpose and things like that. And if you find some people, I'm not going to say unevolved or low vibrational, people who are maybe unawares, let's say, maybe you need to just not make them aware and not be too much for them, you know. But also accept that you will trigger people and you will be intense at times, and that's your role. And not everyone can handle you. And that's how it is. Okay, Bagashi, 111 here. Okay. Here, your energy is amazing. Thank you. What is about my energy? I've been swearing on this live, but thank you. A lot of inner work, but I don't know what you mean by my energy. Maybe is it like peaceful and calm? It's a lot of inner work that's being done. Okay, Heather says, do you reach out to your DM? How often? So in the beginning, I would. We had 2 months, the bubble phase. It was very nice. And then once I started seeing all the signs and synchronicities, he got very scared because he didn't understand why. Because I told him. He initially said, "I'm hunting you down." Ha 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 ha. I didn't know what was going on either. And then after that, I think I was messaging every month to say, Happy New Year, how are you? He wasn't replying. And then I had a coach, okay, from Twin Flame Universe. I'm going to be honest with you. And I think the advice wasn't appropriate because, I'm quite ballsy now. I wasn't in the beginning as much with the Twin Flame. I was a bit more like cautious with the energy. But she was like, you need to message him and tell him how you feel and blah, blah, blah. And in the sessions, I would never do that with any client. She made me text him a few times. And then he blocked me because I said things like, I know what's happened in your past because I was getting all the downloads and I'm the one and this, and that, and the other. And it was too much. So then he blocked me on WhatsApp, but not on email or Telegram or Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. So I still had other ways of contacting. And then I did silly things like what I felt like I had to. In the summer, not last summer, the year before, in the summer, I sent it 2 emails with everything about Twin Flames written in there, the whole journey. Too much. A little baby, PhD documents sent to a little baby. They can't handle it. So I recommend against telling your twin flame that you're twin flames. Let them figure it out. Let them think it's a connection or whatever. They don't need to know. But that's why I think that's one of the reasons why my separation has been long. It's been 2 years, over 2 years of, not seeing each other and not much communication either. He's only ever said, please do not contact me, you are scaring me. That was one of the communications. And then thanks for his birthday just in October. But also I do social media and he sees all that stuff and it's intense. It's a lot. Like some of my posts are very like, union's going to happen. A lot of the stuff I do in that stuff is to empower you lot to get out of your victim energy. Some of you DFs are in very much lack of empowerment. Like you're not in your leadership, some of you. So it's kind of to empower you and motivate you. But it's also sometimes to tell my DM as well, like, it's going to happen. But in this live, what we talked about, which is about drip feeding, spoon feeding, keeping it light, allowing them to learn on their own time, that is more of the preferred way. That's the better way to do it. And maybe I'll change my approach. I'm not sure. But all my stuff's out there now anyway. So I'm almost saying to my DM, like, trigger, 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 look. And he probably used to it by now. And he's probably like, whatever. There he's at it again. Doesn't matter any much. So yeah, now I don't reach out to him. It's his turn to reach out. Okay, I said happy birthday, and then I said pray for me in December. So October, happy birthday, and then December, pray for me when I did the ibogaine treatment when I thought I was going to die. But other than that, no, because you got to respect someone's space. If they've blocked you on any device and they're running away from you, it means they're not feeling safe. They're feeling vulnerable. They don't want to engage. So you shouldn't be harassing them unless you feel inspired by the divine for a short, small, sweet message or text. Let them get on with it. They will reach out when they're ready. Okay, Benny. Recently, I'm getting frequent dreams about our marriage. Okay, that's inner union. When you start getting dreams about marriage, it means your Pingala and Ida nadis inside for your Kundalini have come into union. So congratulations. So you're having inner union. Getting the same scene in my mind throughout the day, but we have no contact. So yes, you're in inner union now. And just know that it's happened in the 5D and it will happen in the 3D when it's the right time. Terry B. loved. So I'm all about my business and growth and in my love of self and life. Wonderful. And I feel like as I come into face deeper, I grow more in love and desire for my DM. Wonderful. Exactly. Perfect. Which causes me to see him in all. Which causes me to see him in all. I don't know what that means. But yes, as you heal, you fall deeper into love with them. You also get into deeper levels of acceptance and surrender, and you forgive, and you allow them to get on with it. And they will get on with it, and they'll come, because the twin flame journey, it's actually the triggering journey, and it's the journey to be able to ascend and get rid of all the ego fears, right? And that's not a small task. If you're doing it for yourself, for humanity, for your ancestry, it's big themes. The love comes after. The love is in the beginning. It's the carrot to get you hooked onto each other to do the work, because otherwise you wouldn't do it. And it's painful, yes, but it's a much bigger thing than we make it out. It's not just about, why isn't DM, like, I'd love to. It's cold right now to be cuddling up with my DM. Yes, I'd love it. One day that'll happen. But, the boy's doing big work right now and healing stuff to do with pedophilia and rape and the Catholic Church and abuse and sexual abuse and all the other things, being gay and all that. That's a lot of things, okay? There's a lot of things. Narcissism and ego and control and all that stuff. And be proud of your DMs for doing the work they're doing. They're working. They're healing in their own ways. Let's be so happy and appreciative and proud of them. That's why we did the prayer at the beginning, to give them the hope to continue, because we are their cheerleaders to get them across the finish line. Okay. Hi, Acti. Ain't that the truth? Incident. Okay. Terry beloved. Which is difficult, because I'm trying not to be in attachment or obsession. Okay, this is a good question, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail. So when I did my ibogaine treatment, if you remember, that I did my bufo, I was with my twin flame for hours on end in the spiritual realm, in the 5D, just in love and making love and all that kind of stuff. That helped me to forgive and get into more love. But then I started to feel like he wasn't here. Where is he? And that's separation again, out of inner union. Just remember, you are already in union and you're not separate. And like right now, I'm doing this live with my twin flame and we are together, and just get out of that need and want. It just means that you're out of the middle path, you're out of 0 point, and you're feeling not whole and complete. You gotta get back in the middle zone. Ankti, does third party always move out of the scene? Does she leave the DM? What do you think? I think that was last week's live, wasn't it? So basically, don't focus on the third party. Don't look at their social media. Don't look at their name, and they will go as quick as ever. Third party is to do with your lack of worthiness and self-esteem. Love yourself. They will leave. Miracles are happening on the journey. I never thought my DM would change. You know what he did. If you've been following me, you know the things that were going on with that one. He's become a saint. He's into God. He stopped all the madness. He's healing. He's maturing. Bloody hell, I'm proud. So do they get better? I even said it in this video, didn't I, in the beginning? You better believe they change. You better believe. I said the DMs do sort themselves in their own timing. They do, but do your inner work. Bagashi, I'm having a very high heart palpitations. First, get that checked by the doctor. How do I focus on myself? He misses me terribly, I feel. Or maybe he does miss you. Probably does. Obviously, they do. So it happens, but get it checked. It will eventually go away, the heart palpitation. You just got to do a more inner work. Love that inner child. Go within and love her, and it will go down. Sometimes it used to happen to me. The heart pulling used to happen. Yesterday morning, after a long time, I missed my DM quite a lot, actually, and I felt his energy, and whether it was his energy or my energy, I don't know. But I just went in and loved myself, and it got better, and it went away. It takes time. I don't know where you are on your journey. I also don't know how much karma you've got to heal, and I don't know how much inner work you've done. I suggest that you all just get obsessed with your inner work and just go for it. And like I've mentioned in other lives, sometimes on the weekends I'd be doing 10 to 12 hours of inner work. I'm only on this journey 2 years and 2-3 months, okay? I'm not on this journey for that long. And my DM, if you know the story, it was very toxic. But I would do the inner work like my life depended on it. And I was doing the lives, I was doing the coaching and the workshops and doing everything, and have a full-time job and have family, going to the gym 5 times. I was doing everything, having a gym, all the things I was doing, and I was doing inner work like my life depended on it. And I had coaches and I had online courses I was doing everything. How dedicated are you? I did a post last week, or was it this week, which was like, um, what are you willing to die for? Someone said, what are you willing to live for? But your ego dies. So how much are you hungry to get ascension and to get union and do your inner work? Like I said, you don't need to heal. Some people are naturally calm, relaxed, and don't have the fear. Then you're in union anyway. In a union, you're relaxed and the DM comes in his own time. But if you're still in your ego and you're focused on, when is he coming? Relax. But sometimes to get to that stage of knowing, you got to do your work, your inner work. For me, doing the inner child stuff and all the stuff I've done, which I've laid out so much before, helped me to get to that total trust and faith. Because some of you have doubt still. How do you heal anxious attachment to the DM energy? Faith, trust in God, self-love, just a lot of inner work with God, inner child. Because you're anxious, which is in fear, which is in ego, because you are focused on the external to get your validation and attention. It comes from childhood stuff, comes from father wounds, mother wounds, not getting your needs met, not being fulfilled. So you've got to meet those needs yourself. It's a trauma response. You can do my inner union course online or have some coaching with me. But essentially, you have to give yourself that which you want from your DM. What's your opinion on blocking the DM, Lorraine? I don't agree with it, Lorraine. Because they do it because they're unconscious, right? And they get repercussions for doing so. If you don't have self-control, then that's on you. Now, I've never really blocked people. I very rarely, but I block people if they are very abusive or threatening me, which my DM's never done. Now, if your DM is being abusive and nasty, then maybe you need to block. Always heal the thing first inside. Now, I've always also said triggers are your best friend. And if you look at your DM's social media, it's okay. Because sometimes God guides you to look at it to get triggered, to heal. Because you got to trigger, because triggers are your best friend, okay? So do I agree with blocking them? Not really. Because if you're blocking them to avoid something, that trigger will come one way or the other. And we mentioned that last week. So if your DM is blocking you, triggering you with something that's hitting your abandonment wound, and you block them because you don't want to deal with it, God will bring that through work, friends, or family. You will get the trigger you're meant to, and the DM will get the trigger he's meant to, whether you like it or not, because you got to heal. I need more context though, Lorraine. Bagashi, I'm having a very strong heart palpitations every now and then. We've answered this. It gets uneasy to focus elsewhere. He misses me terribly whenever we connect, but I do not understand how long this can go on for me. They do go away eventually. We'll get it checked. Meta, how are you doing, Meta? Is this significant? Everything has turned topsy-turvy in my life. Oh dear. Yes, in the beginning. Well, hopefully this is your beginning, but I know it's not your beginning. Usually in the beginning, what happens is DF's life totally goes to shit and everything breaks down. The ego dissolution with the Kundalini awakening. The DM is on his high horse in his ego, doing all the craziness. And then once the DF heals and ascends, the DM breaks down and has to go through all that. Life falls apart. And I've made videos before about, the DM turns into a hermit, I've also made videos where I, back in the day, in the early days, where I used to say, like, you can have an army, but I have God. So in the beginning, the DM has a lot of people, a lot of karmics, a lot of blah, 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 whatever they're doing, the craziness to have the crowd. But eventually, once you ascend, they become a hermit and they're indoors. They'll be not on social media. They'll be quiet. They lose out on followers, on jobs and money and stuff like that. Their life crumbles. It's part of the journey. The DF's life crumbles, and then you ascend and you become amazing and your divine template. Then the DM's life crumbles. Okay? That's how it is. And then they ascend too. Bhagashi, yes. Yes, thank you. Okay. Being Manavi, and we're going to end soon in probably 5-10 minutes. I lashed out at him after he came back from separation and expected me to apologize after his bad behavior. Oh, sounds a lot of ego here. And the thing is, if if you apologize, he's apologizing because you're the same damn person. You're the same damn soul. Doesn't matter who apologizes. Why do you have to have your ego? I was healing and loving, but the wolf moon imbalanced me to lash out at him. Mistake, right? Well, you didn't stay in your balance. You didn't stay in your divine harmlessness of the divine mother. You didn't stay in 0 point and got triggered. So it wasn't the right timing for you to be in union because you're both in your egos. And otherwise he wouldn't come and say all that stuff to you. So forgive and love and go deeper. I was angry and I have to be a higher standard and it didn't feel fair. Well, ego. Remember, he is you, you are him. Does it matter who says I love you or I forgive you or I apologize? It doesn't matter at all. Who gives a shit? You say it, you saying it to yourself. Okay? This is you and this is you. I say sorry. Doesn't matter who says sorry. It's the same person. Doesn't matter. Get out of your ego. The same person. You have been by far the most realistic and experienced counselor. You are superb. Thank you, Begashi. I don't think we've had a session of counseling. This is just me chatting on social media. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Over the 2 years here as well, but we are in contact. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Me too, having dreams. Very good. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Finally know what sweet surrender means. Thank you for your guidance. Acceptance. It's all happening. Union is happening right now. Alma, hello, just connected, and this is exactly my current dilemma. As the DF in my TF connection, I'm feeling deep love. Good. Since November, no contact, and with his deep love feeling, I'm wanting to reach out. If you feel okay, there will be maybe 10% of the time, God or the divine will utilize you and you'll just have to do what you got to do and say and text and reach out and it'll be out of your control, like my 2 emails that I sent. But most of the time, you are working with the divine and you've just got to lay back and allow them to reach out, okay? All right. I said to my DM, I don't want to be friends because he is disrespecting me. Should I contact him to make things right or should I let him contact me? Nadika, this is a journey of self-ascension within. Do the inner work, So he's disrespecting you. How does that make you feel? Do the inner work to be able to heal that. Work with your inner child and heal that first. Do not reach out and do external things until the inner world and reality is the same. Only once you heal that will the outside change. Otherwise, if you reach out to him, he'll disrespect you again. If you reach out, he'll disrespect until you heal it. I would say give it space and do the inner work and let him reach out to you. Karina, we communicate a lot by dreams on the astral realm, and sometimes he also remembers the dreams. Very good. That's how it is. But going back to Nadika, if you feel like you want to reach out and apologize, there's no harm. I'm not one of those who say you have to control this and this is how you should do it. Listen to your heart, listen to your instincts. Once you do the inner work and you heal and you feel like, you know what, I want to apologize for my actions. There's nothing wrong with that. Apologize. It's okay, Eternal thanks for the rising DMs. Yes. Okay. Oscar, my DM went to therapy the same time I did back in 2020. Very good. Mirroring. I think back and say he is awake. It just looks different. Alma, on the other hand, I'm thinking if I should just allow my feelings within for now, sending him love and trusting he will reach out again in the divine timing. Yeah, you can talk to them telepathically as well. Been having a lot of loving dreams. Very good. That's all healing, and for them as well. So question, lol, would you recommend us DFs to reach out or keep working within and trusting he's going to reach out at the right time? So I answered that, trust God, but sometimes you reach out if you need to, but do the inner work first. Bagashi, oh Manny, thanks a lot. I hope I heal soon. Of course you will. Your voice soothes me so much. Oh, thank you. Love beams. Devotion. Okay. Alma, what is the best way to manage the situation if the DM is the one blocking? So where are you blocking yourself? I did a live about that. Where are you blocking yourself? Watch that. They're blocking you because they need space. It's too much. Your energy is too much focused on them, pushing on them. Bring your energy back to your inner work, focus on your purpose, focus on your life. Go traveling, live your life, go out with friends, have a good time. Enjoy. It will sort itself out. Iridescent, I blocked my DM 1.5 years ago because he was a dick. No, she didn't say that. Sorry, because I was triggered. She kept hiding me from her story and dating other guys. I blocked her and tried to ask to communicate a few months later. I was so triggered. Okay, so that's a statement. Is there a question with that? You do what you got to do and follow your intuition. I don't think that blocking is the way. I hope that all the triggers that were coming up, you healed them and you worked on them consciously rather than just blocking it out, you know, because otherwise it will come another way or the other. Lorraine, blocked on Facebook and here, not on WhatsApp, addicted to alcohol and cocaine. He is a total asshole. Okay, so if he's addicted to physical substances, what are you addicted to? Are you addicted to worry, stress? There's addictive behavior is always mirrored. Okay, he's addicted to things because he's numbing, trying to avoid the feelings that he's feeling for you or his ancestry, karmic, childhood stuff. He's trying to like not face that. What are you not facing? What are you not coming to acceptance of and on? My twin flame was addicted to weed. I healed it because I was worried. I still worry a lot. Okay, so I heal that, and then he stopped. How to know if it's not limerence? It won't go away. The twin flame stuff, it won't go away. You'll get the dreams, the signs, the synchronicities, their 5D self visiting you in the physical world. You can never hate them, and things will be synchronistic. You'll think something, they'll post it on social media. It's just eventually it will. You'll have doubts, and the universe will keep confirming it until you have no more doubts. If it's limerence, then you'll forget about them. I had someone comment on my post yesterday saying, "Oh, I moved on from my twin flame now. I don't give a shit about him, blah, 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 blah." He's not your twin flame then, is it? Because you can't, unfortunately, get rid of them. Okay, thank you, blah, 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 blah. Adara, finally I understand everything was leading me to myself, to happiness within me, and if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't be the same. I feel so much peace, but so much power. Me and my counterpart follow each other on Instagram. They go really hot and cold most of the time. Oh yeah, so it is what it is. My SP, special person, what does the SP stand for? Blocked me. I don't know what to do. Shall I reach out to him again? Listen to your heart. I regret blocking her, but I got bad spiritual advice. Well, then unblock. I really want to remove. Okay, this is the last two questions. Thank you. I really want to remove the third party completely from his life. How can I? Watch last week's episode. Live, sorry. Thank you. All the facts are there. My mind keeps fighting it. Hello, Saranga. So we're going to end now, and I'll go over the third party thing. Third parties is your insecurities and self-doubts and worthlessness, because you basically have manifested a person where your role is, where you should be. You put someone else there because you don't feel good enough to be in that position. You don't feel worthy of receiving divine love, so you got to heal that stuff, okay? So let's conclude. Why the DF is held to a higher standard than the DM? Because the DF is ascended, is awakened, is conscious, is in a higher vibration, and there's instant manifestations and instant karma at that high vibration of love and joy and peace and bliss. The DM in the beginning is in a lower vibration in the 3D in the matrix, therefore things are slower because it's more denser. They do get the karma, but it takes a long time, and to put the dots together, they have to be smacked bang in the head before they realize. They're running because they have had really toxic lives. They're scared and triggered from the childhood ancestral karmic stuff, and by you pushing your energy on them and trying to wake them up and being annoyed with them, it's like putting a big spotlight on them when they're trying to sleep in the dark, and to waken them up faster scares the living daylight out of them. And you've got to let them awaken in their own time by staying in the middle path, by staying in 0 point, by trusting and having faith and allowing people to do whatever they want, however they want to do it, by staying in the divine harmlessness of the mother energy, where you do not harm others, you do not force people to awaken in their own time. You allow them to do whatever they're doing by being trusting and whole and complete. And in that energy, your DM does not feel your pressure, feel your energy, and they relax, they work on themselves, and they return with ease. And union happens. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. This week we will be releasing the healing part of the Ascension series. You have my Inner Union course on my website. I wish you all the best. Take care. God bless. Bye.